RS 2023-2246 Road authorizes the adoption of rules, regulations, and forms to be used by the Metropolitan government in the collection of the privilege tax at the National Museum of African American Music. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Is there anyone here that is, I was looking for...
Just give us a quick update. I remember this was before the committee in the past, and is that something
This
that
one,
you know?
yeah, I'm looking for a staff member who can.
Can you share with us kind of the background?
Are you
or
with the
analysis?
National Museum of African American Music?
No, he's on
No, he's
council
on
staff.
council
Office,
staff.
Brian Wilson.
Oh, this is the new staff guy.
Yes, yes.
Oh. Thank you, I'm sorry.
No, that's quite all right. You can give me one moment. This appears to authorize a structure to collect the privilege tax for the National Museum of African American Music. This was previously adopted in November of 2022, or at least a broader act with that. It appears that that act instructed rules and regulations be formed. The county clerk has since developed these rules and regulations, and I believe those rules and regs are part of the resolution.
And so this was like a state action? Is that what happened in November of 2020? Okay.
According to the analysis, yes, although I don't...
Okay, yeah, got it. I was just wanting to understand the background. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? There being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. RS 2023-2260 approves a grant from the Centennial Park Conservancy to the Metropolitan Board of Parks and Recreation to provide funding for one part-time position in the Parthenon Museum store. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Do we have someone that want to give us some background on this part-time position?
It's just basically a continuation grant from the Conservancy to the department.
So do we already have a part-time person in the position and we're just going to continue? Okay. Any other questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Next, we have RS 2023-2261, Taylor and Roden, approves an in-kind grant from Nashville Youth Hockey League, Inc. to the Metropolitan Board of Parks and Recreation to fund the purchase and installation of up to 20 door wrap graphics for the locker room and other doors on rinks A and B of the Centennial Sportsplex. Motion?
So moved. Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Any comment?
Chair, I just had a question. Does Parks have a policy, because I know this has come up when we have either business or nonprofit partners, screens on tennis courts, wraps on doors, just making sure from a graphic design standpoint that it's still clear that like this is a public park. Who kind of administers the standards or approves how these things are done or chosen? Who on staff does that?
Yeah, I think generally, and jump in, Shania, if it's a Parks Planning Division or if it's a Greenways project, the division head of that department and their design review would make sure that happens.
Okay, so it's just up to the division head and design review to make sure we're not kind of getting at a tipping point where it would be unclear that the predominant messaging or sense of place is public facility.
Right.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you so much. RS 2023-2262, Roden, approves a grant from the Friends of Warner Parks to the Metropolitan Board of Parks and Recreation to continue funding staff positions and copier costs. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Thank you. It's been properly moved and seconded. Any comments, questions? Staff, you want to provide any information?
Just like the first one, this is a continuation grant as well. We've had this grant for a number of years with the Friends of Warner Parks. This one and the next one are both funded through Friends of Warner Parks.
Any other questions? Yes.
May I ask how much it's for?
It is $50,600
Copier cost. Is that
for the rental of a copier.
Yeah, okay.
It's for staffing and the copier.
Staff positions.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And how many staff positions is it?
1, 2, 3, 5. 1, 2.
So it's providing a percentage of those staff positions?
It's, 4.
Is that for number 4 and number 5 combined, or is that just for
No,
number 4?
it's 2 separate ones. That's, the sweat is a different grant.
So this one's the
This one is
50,000.
straight staffing.
And I would assume that these are part-time, I mean, it's offering a percentage of the staffing and not the full
It's part
salary? Okay, all right,
2 naturalists and 2 seasonal.
okay, good. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? RS 2023-2263 Rolton approves a grant from the Friends of Warner Parks to the Metropolitan Board of Parks and Recreation to provide seasonal staffing for the Special Work Education and Trails Program at Warner Parks.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Any comments from our staff?
Continuation.
Yeah, just longtime program chair, I'll share that acronym is SWEAT, SWEAT. Very popular summer program with young people. They do a lot of work in the parks, and for both of these, we're really appreciative of our partners at Friends. So,
Wonderful. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. We're winding down. RS 2023-2264 Lee and Croton approves an in-kind grant from the Joe C. Davis Foundation and the Friends of Mill Ridge Park to the Metropolitan Board of Parks and Recreation for a planning study to determine the scope of work for Phase 2 of the Mill Ridge Park Master Plan. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. It's been properly moved and seconded. Staff? We want to talk about Mill Ridge?
I don't see Mr. Leach here, but I mean,
$38,750 for a planning study to determine the scope of work for Phase 2 of Mill Ridge Park Master Plan.
Okay. Well, I know it's probably long overdue for Mill Ridge because it's one of those communities that have been neglected for quite some time. So I have no problem with moving forward with trying to make sure we update the park and do what's necessary. Well, right in time. You want
Mill
to
Ridge
give
Park
us a...
update on the spot as you come in the door?
Seriously?
Yes.
What's happening in Mill Ridge Park?
I know, if you're late to these
Catch
meetings, you
your breath.
miss them completely. We're wrapping up construction there, so we should be able to identify a date for a ribbon cutting within the next month or so. And then this is a request from Friends of Mill Ridge Park. As you know, you all approved funding for a second phase of work
Right.
in the most recent capital spending plan. And this is an exercise that they wanted to go through, and we at Parks think is a pretty good idea to look back at the master plan, which was completed in about 2017, and reevaluate priorities in order to determine what projects or what components of the plan should be implemented in Phase 2.
That's good.
Yeah. Run up the stairs and spotlight.
Great timing. Any other questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. RS 2023-2265 Roden, Welsh and Allen approves an in-kind grant from Greenways for Nashville to the Metropolitan Board of Parks and Recreation to raise funds for improvements to 30 Greenway trailhead and signage sites on the Cumberland River, Mill Creek, Richland Creek, and 7 Mile Creek Greenways. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Properly moved and seconded. Any comments from staff?
Sure, this is the second phase of system-wide trailhead updates, the Greenways for Nashville. We've got Jacob Kessinger here, president, and Executive Director of Greenways for Nashville. 30 trailhead trailhead sites. It's upgrading the structures, site furniture, the wayfinding signage, just bringing those back to the standard that they should be. And it's a extremely needed and appreciated upgrade.
Well, thank you. I see that you have members of your Greenways board here. Anyone want to make a comment or say anything? We're so happy to see you here.
They have Grant Winrow here also with the Greenways and Open Space
Right.
Commission.
Yes, thank you for having us, and we're just delighted to be here and want to make sure that we know that you all make the right decisions.
But we yes.
As you all kind of engage these spaces, right, with your kind of new wayfinding and how that looks, are you all also looking to optimize? Like, I notice sometimes when I go to certain trailheads or greenway, it's sort of like where the goat paths are, or actually we didn't do quite enough concrete for somebody to make the turn. You know, are you, as long as you're gonna be there, is it only furniture, structure? Are you looking at, you might need future bike share, so is there sufficient pad for that? Can you just sort of speak to, from a design perspective, is it solely just you're switching out the benches and the trash cans and the, you know, the sign because they're old, or when you all land there? Because I think what often happens in the community is people appreciate the new investment, right? Like, oh yeah, you cleaned this up, you updated that. But sometimes we don't fix those little things that seem so obvious to the community, and it seems like a big miss. So can you speak to that, if that's part of this work?
I can speak to that, and you all can jump in. It's over $250,000 worth of improvements.
$270,000 on this.
It's a significant rehab, maybe is the word for it. So they are focusing strictly on the trailhead, that front door when you enter a greenway. As far as other maintenance along the trail, that falls back to our maintenance division.
And I guess that's just my question. Like, so often it's at the trailhead though, where I see there's not enough place for people to stand, so there's like the little dirt part of the triangle, or actually this turn is too tight for somebody on a bike. Like, I see a fair amount of
Well,
that.
then we need to talk about that and
Okay.
see where those are. And,
Okay.
But they're not addressing design issues.
With this work. Okay.
We're not redesigning anything. We're basically really what's in place is high quality. It's just tired for the most part, and that as Cindy's explained, the front door. So we are not changing things. Rather, we're making them as new.
Okay. I appreciate that.
And I think the wayfinding is probably the most dramatic change you'll see, similar to several of the greenways already have the simpler, I think simpler, system of, you know, figuring out where you are, where you're going. Like 440 Greenway, one of the newer ones, it will be of that style. So it's primarily building that level of comfort when you first come up, not just being kind of lost because it's an old map or a very confusing map.
Yep. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. It's been properly moved and seconded. Any more questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much. We have a late file resolution by Hurt, which appropriates $2,938,965 from Nashville Public Library to various nonprofit organizations for the provision of free and high-quality after-school and summer program from the library's Nashville After Zone Alliance Out-of-School Time Coordinating System.
So moved.
It's been properly moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. You want to give us an update? I mean, I have information, but just can share.
With this funds, and then we have an additional, I believe we spoke on, it just allows us to program as usual. And also increase our numbers of students. We'll be increasing our numbers from about 250 students after school program, 100 students for summer. And it allows us to pay for our busing, as close as bus rate has increased this coming school year. So it allows us to pay for our bus rates.
And I might add that some of those organizations who will receive this funding are Aspiring Youth Enrichment Services, Backfill in Motion, Beach Creek Ministries, Bethlehem Centers, Black Lemonade, Church on the Rock, Diamond in the Rough, East Nashville, Hope Exchange, Ed Hill, Neighborhood Partnership, Global Outreach Developments, Humble Beginnings, Martha O'Brien, Moves and Grooves, Nashville International Center for Empowerment, Nations Ministry Center, Why We Can't Wait, YMCA, Youth Changes, and Youth Journeys. So it's a,
And we'll add that we do have MOU with Metro Parks. So we do work with Metro Parks, and they are important.
okay, so I just love the idea that it's reaching so many organizations and engaging to ensure that our kids have things to do after school, during the summer, to make sure that they stay busy and engaged in community activities. So if there are no other questions or comments, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much. Okay. Then we have our last bill, which is on second reading, BL 2023-1882, which creates Chapter 2.153 of the Metro Code, establishing a Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Commission.
Chair.
Do I have a motion? Is there a second? Second. It's been properly moved and seconded.
Just first and foremost, going to ask, why is this in this committee? This seems to be an NDOT thing.
Well, it very well may be, but considering that it does have bicycle and pedestrians and many of our parks and greenways also accommodate bicycles and people, I'm sure they're just asking us to weigh in on it to ensure that they cover all of the bases, to ensure that there are different perspectives addressing the commission.
I would say this has been, in the bike ped community, something that folks have wanted to come back. It was part of the Dean administration, and then it kind of fell away on the heels of the walk and bike, the first walk and bike strategic plan, and I think through all the, 5 different NDOT directors and so forth, and then I think one of the reasons it came back to the fore was the kind of e-bike controversy on greenways. And so I don't know if that's what's kind of put it here, but I think Director Alarcon had made the case that this could be under the umbrella of Vision Zero. I'm not sure if I really concur with that assessment, but I am interested to know what she thinks, like how people on that committee feel about that, because a lot of the people that used to serve on the BPAC are now on that Vision Zero committee, and so not seeing Councilman O'Connell and not really having that feedback, I would be inclined to move maybe a 1 meeting deferral, but I know we're getting really close to the finish line. But I feel like there's a whole lot of people that care a lot about this, and I just, budget and everything, and Councilman O'Connell's not here. So that would be my recommendation, but I don't want to do that if that's not what the lead sponsor wants.
So does that matter in terms of being able to establish the commission? I'm not sure if that is, I understand your concerns and I appreciate you giving us some historical perspective, but would that impact the establishment of the commission?
I'm not sure. I feel like we could make a particularly informed decision as a committee at this juncture if we don't have, it's sort of, I'm kind of questioning why it's here and not in NDOT. I know it does intersect with parks, but yeah.
I could add, greenways are mentioned several times as being part of the advisory capacity of this commission.
Yeah, I think we've had a lot of challenges around Parks Board, Parks Committee, Greenways Commission, BPAC, Vision Zero. Like, there's a whole lot of stuff that's intersecting, and sometimes that's a good thing, but sometimes it's a little bit of a this thing, and so
Well, considering that it is referred to transportation and infrastructure, I think it covers that, and I think what we are voting on is the establishment of the commission.
Well,
and
again,
not-
the sponsor's not here, Chair, so I would not, I'm gonna move a one meeting deferral.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we have one meeting deferral. Any discussions or comments?
I would prefer, Chair.
Go right ahead.
I would prefer our committee to support this in regard to parks and greenways being part of this discussion in committee, and then get your questions answered on the floor as a body as to whether or not it established that. So I'd be a no on the deferral, just to keep moving the things forward,
Right.
keep moving the wheels forward.
Okay, would the committee be amenable to me seeking out Councilman O'Connell to see if he can join us here? I mean, we typically don't move something in committee without the sponsor. There
Well,
is.
does someone else, because it does say others, I don't know if the others would include one of, I don't think I signed on to it.
I have a question, Chair.
Yes.
Would council member feel comfortable with a re-referral request to the committee on third reading?
Yeah, that sounds good. Thank you.
Sure, I mean, I see where you're going, Councilman Taylor. Again, I would hate to sort of bog it down at the end. I mean, I don't wanna, I mean, we can just take a vote up or down on the deferral.
Right.
And then if it doesn't pass, then I'm gonna go find Councilman O'Connell.
Okay, well, I think Amy went to find him.
Did you see him?
I did not see him, and I know Councilmember Allen also had something to add to this discussion,
Okay.
but.
And
Lady Welsh is here. Did you see her by chance?
I did not.
She's here. Maybe she could help.
I know we got a pretty robust.
Is y'all's presence here today more to discuss this, or was it more about the trailheads and other stuff? I mean,
Both, so
Okay.
obviously here for the,
Well, I appreciate your effort in coming down here. It's not my intent to defer it for y'all not to participate, of
and you
course,
all
so.
may want to, just, if you're interested in hearing from the commission and the.
Well, we actually have a vote on the floor, a motion on the floor. Do we want to go ahead and take a vote? And I would, considering that it's been properly moved and seconded, that for deferral. All in favor of deferral, please raise your hand. Those opposed?
I will go get Councilman O'Connell. Also, I may have to step out, Chair, because I do have a budget amendment.
I understand, but the vote for the deferral
Has failed.
has failed.
Understood.
So we want to go ahead and now.
I move for approval with re-referral to
There
the
you go.
Public Facilities and Arts Committee.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can support that.
Okay, so it's been properly moved and seconded.
But per rules of procedure, like, there's nobody representing this that's on the bill here, is there? I mean, don't we have to go get a sponsor?
Well, considering that it says others, is either one of you on here?
No.
Okay.
Let me just go get somebody that's on the bill. Okay.
Technically, that would be part of the rule.
Defer by rule without no
We
letter.
don't always do that though, because we haven't done it on Roten's number 1 or number 4 or 5. So we could supersede that if you'd like, but I don't think that's the consensus.
Well, I'm more about simplicity, and I don't think that, we don't need to make more out of it than what is necessary. Again, I think that it's really about the creation of the commission and establishing it. We've got representatives from the Greenway as well as, and transportation is here.
Chair, there was a motion for a re-referral back and seconded.
Right.
I prefer we just call for the vote.
Okay, I guess I'm just trying to get a clarification of the point of order, or if this is appropriate for us to
Thank you
move
so much
forward
for letting me.
with the vote.
You can come sit if you'd like.
We have a motion that was properly seconded on the motion to approve or refer, is that correct?
Yes.
I believe at that point, we would need to, at the very least, we would need to vote on that before we got to the underlying bill.
Okay. Thank you. So it's been properly moved and seconded that we vote approval and re-refer back to the committee on third reading.
Now we have discussion, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Just as a member of the Greenways Commission, thank you for letting me duck out of budget and come in. I'm excited about this. I think the BPAC served a great purpose just in terms of creating great awareness and opportunities to physically get out and see stuff as well. But I do know that the Greenways Commission would just like to have some interaction and interface in terms of what their goals are, what Vision Zero goals are, and what Greenways goals are. And I'm trying to get a meeting set up, but I don't know that it will happen quickly enough to talk about potential amendments, mainly just to formalize the role of the Greenways Commission as a partner and a potential member of that. So the Greenways Commission had officially asked me as a representative to ask for just a one-meeting deferral, just to allow enough time to get that amendment in place and comfortable, and then when it gets re-referred, then we could have that as part of the further discussion.
I'm glad to hear that. I made that motion earlier, but it failed.
Right, and that's fine, because it still can pass through committee and it can be deferred on the floor. So not to hold up what we have going on in the committee is my purpose, is for us to move forward, so.
So Council Lady Allen.
I will make that amendment, I will make that motion on the floor as well with that explanation. And can explain that I wasn't here for
I'm
much of the
personally
discussion.
not comfortable advancing something in committee with the purpose to defer it on the floor. I like to defer it in committee as well, personally. But what's the committee rule, since we already did a one-meeting deferral? I know on the floor you can't make the same motion twice, but what do we do in committee?
That's a good question. I don't have an answer for you right now, but I can.
Well, considering the fact that she just happened to share that information, if she had not shared it, we probably would have moved forward with a vote on the recommendation.
Still have a vote on that.
Respectfully, Chair, though, per our procedure, we should have had somebody who was a sponsor on the bill present before we were making motions on the bill. And if she had expressed that, then would we have voted that down?
And I guess that's very true, but I think as acknowledged by Councilmember Roberts, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 other, actually, 6 other resolutions that we've passed without the chair being here and giving us information. So I don't know the rule that you're referring to, if it doesn't apply to those, but it does apply to this one.
I assumed, Chair, that you had letters in your packet from the sponsor. I mean, as it relates to the Warner Parks, I would have signed on to them myself because they're in my district. But as I understand the rules in committee, unless somebody is either signed on or you have a letter from a sponsor, we are not supposed to advance something through committee without a co-sponsor present.
Okay, so we can just go back and all of this is null and void then. Considering that we don't have the sponsor here, based on the definition that you're providing.
Again, I'm not trying to gum up the works, Chair. I just feel like on this one in particular, because it has been a matter of some contention, but also opportunity, and I know that Council Lady Allen does good work and does her homework. She's expressing a desire to defer, and so I would just
Per the Greenways Committee, did you not say? The Greenways Committee, right, of those members here of the Greenways Committee, just a second, please. Those of the Greenways Committee did not acknowledge that they had requested a deferral on this, so that's the reason why we moved forward.
I'm sorry.
Just a second, Councilmember Taylor.
So, you'll have to come back to me after this statement. I can withdraw, and then we can vote for a different deferral, and then our deferral in committee will be superseded by whatever deferral or decision will be on the body floor in the full council meeting.
I'm sorry. To clarify, I think may I try to clarify and see if I'm right?
Please.
If you withdraw your motion, and then, because we've already voted on the deferral and couldn't, if you withdraw that, then we can just take no action on it at all
Right,
and wait for it to come back to us.
that's correct.
It would automatically come back.
It would automatically come back.
That's correct.
Yeah, good call.
So,
Did I understand that?
Yes, that's what I,
so no action, basically, is what
Exactly.
we're
It's an automatic
going to say.
So are you,
so I would like to withdraw my motion.
second,
Second.
and take no action?
That works for me.
And then we will see this again next time, and then we'll be able to talk about it. We'll be back on, continue with it.
Sounds like a plan.
Chair, may I ask a question for Parks? Anyone still here? Is there one here?
Cindy's still here.
Cindy's oh, there you are, around the corner. There was a donation that was gonna be made to the Parks Foundation for new basketball backboards at Oakwood Park, and I was wanting to kind of see whether or not that's swung back through so that we can make sure and get that done before end of term. So if you could make sure and double check that that's on schedule for the Parks Board to Oakwood Park backboards.
I don't have personal knowledge of that, but I can check with this, finance department and
Okay, great. Thanks. I just want to try to get it done before I'm
I
gone.
think Shanita had to run to the other meetings, so.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so very much. I also want to acknowledge the new basketball court over at Martin Luther King, Watkins Park. I said Martin Luther King because it's the old Pearl, and it was all done in honor of Perry Wallace, who was a state championship and the first African American to play basketball at Vanderbilt. And it was
It's beautiful mural.
This is absolutely beautiful.
I saw the aerial. It's beautiful.
I see it's amazing.
Really?
Just wanted
It's
to
not all our courts.
acknowledge that and thank you all so very much. You get a chance to go to Watkins Park and see it. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.